A year after our divorce, my ex-wife showed up on Christmas. What she said changed everything. The first Christmas after our divorce was supposed to be silent. Peaceful. Empty, maybe, but finally free. I'd promised myself that I wouldn't look back, that I wouldn't check her Instagram, that I wouldn't replay the nights when our laughter filled the apartment like a melody I thought would never end. But fate has a dark sense of humor. Because exactly 1 year after signing the papers, when snow covered my driveway and the city glowed with holiday lights, my ex-wife showed up at my door, holding a red gift bag and wearing the same perfume that once made my heart stop. Her name was Claire. We'd been married for 6 years, divorced for 1. And if you'd told me a year ago that I'd ever see her again, I would have laughed. Or maybe flinched. Back then, she left me not for lack of love, but for lack of ambition. She used to say, "Ethan, you dream too small." She wanted luxury, fast cars, designer vacations. I wanted peace, purpose, and a business that meant something. She wanted a life. I wanted a reason. When she walked out, she didn't just leave our apartment. She left behind the man I was still trying to become. I rebuilt from the ashes, quietly, methodically. Every morning started before sunrise. Every night ended at my desk. I built a logistics company that connected small suppliers to big retailers, one deal at a time. No shortcuts, no noise, just work. By the time Christmas came around again, that company had become one of the fastest growing startups in the state. But the truth? I didn't celebrate. Success fell hollow without the person I once planned it for. So when my doorbell rang that snowy evening, I almost didn't answer. Until I heard her voice. "Ethan, it's me." I froze. The sound of her voice was both familiar and foreign, like a song you used to love but couldn't listen to anymore. When I opened the door, there she was, hair perfectly done, eyes red from the cold, standing against the snow like a memory that refused to fade. "Can I come in?" she asked softly. For a moment, I said nothing. Then I stepped aside. She walked in slowly, her heels clicking on the wooden floor we once picked out together. The scent of her perfume filled the air, and suddenly, it felt like no time had passed at all. "I didn't know where else to go," she whispered. "Everyone's with someone tonight." I leaned against the counter. "So you thought of me?" Her eyes darted away. "You were always kind." I wanted to laugh at that. Kind? That kindness hadn't stopped her from walking out when I lost my first business deal. It hadn't stopped her from saying, "You'll never make it big, Ethan." Not like them. But I kept my voice calm. "What do you want, Claire?" She hesitated, then placed the red bag on the table. "I brought you something." Inside was a single snow globe. A glass globe. Inside it, a miniature version of our old apartment building. Our first home. "You kept this?" I asked quietly. She nodded. "I found it while cleaning. It reminded me of us." I turned it over, watching the fake snow swirl around the tiny windows. "Why are you really here?" Her eyes shimmered. "Because I made a mistake." There it was. The confession every betrayed lover imagines but never expects to hear. She took a shaky breath. "The man I left you for, he's gone. The cars, the penthouse, the promises, they were all lies. I thought I was trading up, Ethan, but I was just another trophy on his shelf." She looked at me, tears falling freely now. "You were the only one who ever loved me for who I was." For a long moment, I said nothing. The fire crackled softly behind her, and outside, snow kept falling. Finally, I spoke. "Do you remember what you said the night you left?" She swallowed. "I said, you'd never be enough." I nodded slowly. "You were right. I wasn't enough. Not for the woman you were then." She looked up, startled. I continued, "But I became enough for the man I am now." There was silence. Heavy, but not cruel. She glanced around the living room, her eyes catching on a framed photo of my company's opening ceremony. Me standing with my small team, smiling. "You did it," she said quietly. "You actually made it." I shrugged. Success doesn't fix everything, but it helps you see who really matters. Her voice cracked. "Can we start over? Maybe just dinner sometime?" I looked at her for a long time. The woman who'd once been my everything and then became my greatest lesson. Then I smiled faintly. "Claire, I hope you find what you're looking for." But I already did. She blinked back, tears. "Ooh," I gestured to the shelf behind me. A framed photo of a small orphanage in Kenya, one my company funded to build classrooms for kids. Damn, that's what I built all this for. Her lips trembled. You changed. No, I said softly. I just stopped needing validation from someone who didn't see my worth. She nodded slowly, stepping back toward the door. Merry Christmas, Ethan. Merry Christmas, Claire. She walked out into the snow, her red coat vanishing into the falling white, like a ghost finally fading from the past. I closed the door, exhaled deeply, and turned off the porch light. For the first time in years, Christmas felt real. Not because I got what I wanted, but because I finally let go of what I didn't. And as I sat by the fire, snow globe in hand, I realized something I wish I'd known long ago. Sometimes closure doesn't come from forgiveness. It comes from finally understanding that losing someone was the only way to find yourself again.